Jim Carrey, he kind of wants to talk to me a lot. And I'm not interested. I've already labeled him a loser. And I don't want to catch that virus, the loser virus. And he's all of a sudden goes from the worst actor to Sean Penn in under 20 days. And I witnessed it myself. My family was not good to me. They threw me out into the street with my dog. And hardly anybody in Hollywood would talk to me anymore. Because I was, a guy living in his car with a pit bull, you don't want to be associated with that guy. I had no work as an actor, couldn't get work, couldn't get an agent, couldn't get anything. And the fact that I stayed sober through that says a lot. And to stay in the game, do not give up and do not give in.
Welcome back to part 2 of my conversation with William. Let's pick up right where we left off. From Hollywood to heartbreak to reinvention, the journey continues. What part of Billy is really William, and what part of William did you finally feel free to reveal through Billy?
Well, I mean, the show is loosely based on my life. There's a lot of exaggeration.
I'm sure there is, yes.
For the comedic purposes of it,
Mm-hmm.
But energetically, that's the real William or the Billy. Energetically, that's the guy. The other thing I didn't mention is, oddly enough, part of the issue when it's a long story. I'm not going to get into it, but also my family was not good to me when they were living in California.
Tell me about that, really. I really want to know.
My cousin, who I was very close to, my mom's sister's daughter, we were close. And when I came back from Texas, when I moved back to California, I was coming back to hook up with Allison and edit all this footage that we had, and then try to sell it to a network. And National Geographic Channel picked up the show, so it was. I was running out of money, so I thought, all right, I'm not gonna look, and I have a pit bull. That's another problem. That's why I had to live in hotels in Texas. Yes. I couldn't get an apartment with a pit bull in Dallas. There's just no way. So I lived in extended stays. That's where the money went. It's like, it's $150, $120 a day. I think I had it down to 90, but that's, I don't know what that is a month, but it adds up. And always eating out, obviously. So I was coming back because I was going to sell this show. So I got to move. I got all the footage. I'm going to move to and I decided I found a place in Palm Springs, which is 2 hours from LA. It's called Palm Springs. Super hot in the summer.
Yes.
But it's a nice spot. Warm in the wintertime, which is nice. A lot of sun, which I love. And my cousin was working on Entertainment Tonight as a in the field host of that show. And so she called me. She said, "Oh, I hear you're moving back to California." I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, I have a house." She got married for a minute to this guy named Joe Francis, who was the guy that started Girls Gone Wild. Guy had a lot of money, but he was nuts, and he's a crazy addict. And so they got into a huge fight, and she divorced. Within the first 30 days they were married, I think she divorced him. That's how crazy it was.
Yeah. And
so she got her own house. She moved. She was living with him in Bel Air, but she got this house because she was on CBS. I think that's Entertainment Tonight. And so she said, "Oh, your mom says you're moving back to California." I said, "Yes." And she said, "Oh, where are you going?" I said, "I've got a little apartment I found in Palm Springs that I can afford and that takes the pit bull." LA at that time, LA's way better now. Los Angeles is way better. I see a lot of pit bulls now, which is great. But back then, there was nobody would take it. So I was screwed. But I found a place in Palm Springs. All right, it's a 2-hour drive. If I have to get into LA for an important meeting to try to sell the show, no problem. Just drive in, leave in the morning, be here, drive back out. Not a big deal. And so, um, she said, "Well, listen, I have an extra bedroom, and my ex-husband is crazy, and it would be great if you were here."
Yes. Yes.
And I said, "Well, I have a pit bull." She goes, "Oh, I know. I would be great for your pit bull to be here too."
Yeah.
Um, because this guy Joe was a stalker type guy. He was crazy. And so I said, "All right." And she goes, "You know, what are you paying rent?" I wasn't paying much. She goes, "Oh, you pay less here." I said, "Okay, great." So I moved in Laurel Canyon. So now I'm in Laurel Canyon. And I'm working on putting that show together. And it's a lot of work, editing and
Of
doing
course it
pickup
is.
shots. And then me and Allison had to figure out some shots we would do together. So we both in the show because I was doing most of the stuff by myself. So I had to get her in the show, in the sizzle reel. It's a great sizzle reel. I'll send it to you after
Yes,
we talk.
yes.
It's on YouTube. It's a really good sizzle reel. You'll see. And so anyway, long story short, she decided that after 2 or 3 months that Joe found a new girlfriend, so she didn't need me or my dog anymore. And she basically said, "You have," she said through my mom and her mom, they said, "She wants you to leave."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Well, okay, like when? Now?" I'm like, "Now, like 30 days? Like you get 30 days to find a place. If you get evicted, you get 30 days." "No, no, now." So they threw me out into the street with my
Yes.
dog
Unbelievable.
and
Unbelievable.
in Los Angeles, and so that was another major blow. It was like one thing after another. And my own family. And by the way, I'm sober. I'm not partying. I never had anybody over at the house. I never made any noise. Me and my dog were super quiet. Um, it was very strange. So that alienated me from my only family that I had in California. We're still to this day alienated. So all these things compounded, all these things happened at once. And Boo died. It just everything bad that could happen happened at once.
hmm So I'm sure you struggled with your mental health, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It was a real struggle. Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
And where did you get the support from? Like, um,
Well, finally, like I said, finally it was this group prime time.
mm,
Was this group prime time. And then and I hate to say it, short term, I did go on antidepressants, Lexapro.
mhm,
And
mm.
I'm not a huge advocate. I'm not on it now. I'm not a huge advocate for the SSRIs or for any kind of medication for this.
Why not?
But
From personal
short
experience?
term, yeah. Well, but short term, it's very helpful. I wouldn't recommend staying on Lexapro or Prozac your whole life.
No, no. I've been on Prozac,
But
but
on
for a
short,
year.
yeah, for
Mhm.
sure, yeah, that's right. I was on it for about a year. Then finally, my psychiatrist said, you've gone through the grieving process, but it's too long. And it's
Mm,
affecting your life. So I'm going to recommend you take this drug, Lexapro or Celexa. And so I did. And I have to admit, it helped. It helped me I was on it for a year and it helped me get out of that deep depression funk that I was in.
mhm.
And so, yeah, I was on it for a year. And so that really
And
did
let's of
help.
course say that, everyone's case is different. So I'm sure you disagree about, being someone on Prozac for longer, but it depends always on, you
Of
know,
course.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So Billy, tell me, you spent years, playing characters written by other people. What was it like writing a character based on yourself?
Well, I mean, um, well, it's a lot of fun, you know. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy that role the most. I want to do season two. Um, uh,
What
I,
excites you so much, about The Trouble with Willie? Besides that it's your story.
yeah. Well, that's it. It's my story, and my story is so unique and bizarre and hard to believe. Most of it's very hard to believe. Um, and it's all based on this whole show is based on some truth. All of it's the UFO stuff. It's all based on some truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, I've had an amazing life, and I've always thought to myself, if people saw this, or I might, I'm a good storyteller because these stories are real, and I tell these stories, and people are amazed and entertained by the stories. That's how I knew that Trouble with Billy would be, you know, didn't have a lot of money to make it though, so there's a lot of shortcomings.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, it's great. It's so much fun to play this character that I've created. Um, and to um, and it's a complex character. It's not easy. It's not like, oh, just show up and do it. No, it's very, very complex. And
While you were writing it, is there something you understood about yourself that you weren't aware of before?
well, the interesting thing is when you do something like that, that introspection, you find that the common denominator in all the trouble
Mm-hmm.
is me. So you can't blame anybody, and you can't be a victim,
Mm-hmm.
because at the scene of every single crime committed, I'm at the scene of the crime. Every time something happens, I'm there. So it's quite a coincidence.
But that applies to most of us, you know.
It applies to all of us,
Yeah.
and that's the message of the show. The message of the show is, um, it's not them, it's me.
It's me. Yes.
Never
Yeah.
them, it's always me. And so, it's actually a spiritual, cathartic show. And I guess that's what attracts me most to it. It really is. Um, there is an underlying message, a deep message of love and commitment. And, because Boo, the dog, stars in the show, and the
Mhm.
dog is the heart of the show. Um, so the character has good intentions. The character's got very good intentions, but makes bad decisions, doesn't think through things through.
Mm, mm.
And so that's where a good person can be in trouble. It's like we have good intentions, but we make bad decisions. So something's not linked up in the
Yes.
body
Yes. Yes.
and in the spirit. And so it is a very spiritual show. And uh, it's funny, this kid, he committed suicide, unfortunately. Young kid. He's a friend of mine from AA, his son.
Mhm.
I used his house. He let me use his house for free for the pool scene. I don't know if the pool scene is in episode 1 or not, where I'm jumping up and down.
I don't remember it
No, I don't think it
being on
is.
episode one.
I can't remember where it is, but it's at this beautiful mansion. My friend had this beautiful mansion. He's very wealthy in Brentwood, and we used the house for 2 days. It was fantastic. He let me use the whole house for free, front and back, and it was just great. And his kid was there. His kid was like 14, 15 years old,
Mm.
very complex, super intelligent kid. And he was just very quiet. He was observing. And on the second day, at the end, we were wrapped and we're cleaning everything up, and I'm the last person there trying to clean stuff. He came up to me and he said, "I know what you're doing." I said, "What?" He goes, "I know what you're doing." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "I know what your character is." Now, in the show, I
Wow.
wear that green cap,
Mhm.
that green cap in the show. And so he he opens up his phone and he shows me a picture, on his phone of a very famous guru, Muktananda is his name. You can look him up. Very famous guru wearing the green cap.
Oh,
And he says, "You're playing the idiot, but you're the guru." And
wow.
I said,
Wow.
"Kid, you are a genius." Nobody knew that. I didn't tell that to anybody. I didn't want anybody to know anything about that. That was my secret. And for this 15-year-old to pick that up and to nail it with the picture with Muktananda wearing the green cap was genius. The kid ended up committing suicide, I believe, or
Wow.
overdose. I can't remember. And so it was a quite a astonishing thing. So that was the secret. The idiot is the guru.
So tell me about many of the people who appeared in The Trouble with Billy,
Yeah.
I think showed up when life wasn't exactly glamorous, right?
Yes. Right.
So it was Billy Baldwin, Alison
Angus.
Eastwood.
Yeah.
Tell me about the
Allison.
cast.
Yeah, all of them. Primarily, the one person that we had done a few movies together early in our career, and he's an artist. He's one of those people. He's one of those people that art is first. He is so committed to the art. And he's one of those people that recognized me as an artist. And so when I was down and out and I went to him and said, "Hey, I need help. I have this idea for a show." He completely 1000% said, "You're in. You got it. Whatever you need, Billy. I'm in." 100%. No money, didn't ask for anything. He put 1000% into it. That's Angus McFadden. You can look him up. He was in Braveheart,
Yes,
amongst
yes,
many
yes.
movies, at least 100 great movies.
Hmm.
And he was, he has very wealthy, and at the time I went to him, he was pretty starring in movies left and right, big studio movies.
Hmm.
And hardly anybody in Hollywood would talk to me anymore because I was, a guy living in his car with a pit bull. You don't want to be associated with that guy.
Yes.
Um, uh, I mean, one famous actor who I thought was friends, he just terrible. Just these people are not good people. And but he was like nothing. It's like, "Oh, you live in your car? Fine." Well, he didn't care, you know. And then Billy Baldwin really came in because China Phillips, his wife, talked him into it, and just said, "Just do it. It'll be fun." Da 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 da. And so, but everybody else, Tom Sizemore, same thing. Tom Sizemore's an artist. He didn't care that I didn't have any money or I couldn't pay him. And he's like, "Whatever I could do to help you." Yeah, whatever. Allison didn't ask for $1. She worked multiple days on it, no money. Um, so yeah, these people did, um, Robert Wagner, he had to fly himself in from Aspen. He didn't ask me for any money. I offered to pay for his flight. He said, "No, don't worry about it."
That's
So,
so
I mean,
beautiful. That's so
yeah,
beautiful.
all these people were a part of this, and just so everybody that's in the show, those are all true artists that said yes without even, they just believed in me, and they respected me as an artist the way I respect them as an artist.
Hmm.
And there's very few of those people, but they do exist, and a few of them are in The Trouble with Billy.
Yeah, yeah, and that's amazing. So tell me, first of all, I wanted to ask you about that story you shared about Jimmy Carrey when you were in the film. Please remind me the title.
Doing Time on Maple Drive,
Yeah,
Jim
exactly.
Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Can you please share that story?
Well, which one? There's
And
quite a
how you
few.
understood that he would be, really successful? Because at first you said that he didn't seem so talented. He was.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I had gotten this great TV movie.
And I'm saying that because I want to understand what you saw in him and how you understood.
Sure. So the thing about Jim Carrey at the time, I was doing very, very well in Hollywood. I was doing movie after movie, big TV movies, big feature films, and my career was on fire. And I got offered a character on a TV movie to play a gay kid coming out of the closet, getting caught by his wife or his fiance.
Mhm.
And so very risky to do that in the 90s. I was advised
Yes.
by everybody, don't do that, Billy. You're a leading man. You want to be like Tom Cruise. Don't do anything that's going to take anybody's, you know. And so, um, um, but the writing was so good. The script was amazing. I'm like, there's no way I'm not doing this. This is such a good character. I don't care what it's about. This is just too good. And Ken Olin, you know, people didn't realize he turned out to be, he's a phenomenal director. He wanted to become very successful, show running a lot of big shows.
Mhm.
Um, so it was an incredible group of talented artists and all the actors. I was excited. Jim Sicking from Hill Street Blues, BB Bash, all these people are amazing in their field. And so I so we had the so I'm like they offered it to me. I said, "Yep, I'm doing it." And they said, "Great, we got a read through coming up in a couple of days. All the actors will be there for the table read."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Great, fantastic." So I get there and it's a big table read, all the actors, and I recognize all the actors, Lori Loughlin, I know her, BB Bass, Jim Sicking. I'm a huge fan of Hill Street Blues. And he's been in a lot of other shows too. He's a phenomenal actor. If you don't know who he is, James Sicking, look
Yes,
him
yes,
up.
yes, I know.
Phenomenal. So and then this guy came in kind of late and he was very disheveled. And he was wearing like sweatpants, black sweatpants, a black uh, t-shirt that was old and ripped, and no socks, and like Converse high tops. And his hair was all messy. Like he hadn't taken a shower or something, or just woke up. And I didn't recognize him. And he's tall and gangly. And this is a movie about a family.
Mhm.
So there's two brothers, me and Jim Carrey. There's a sister, Jane Brooke. I think her name is Jane. I can't remember her last name. Beautiful girl. Uh, this is a good-looking family, except for this guy. And I'm like, how is this guy? He doesn't belong here. And I was just like, wow, where'd this guy come from? And I thought maybe he was like, I didn't think, I was like, this guy's in the cast. He sat down at the brother thing. I'm like, I thought he said, what? I just couldn't believe it. So right away I was concerned. I'm like, this guy doesn't look like us. He doesn't look like a serious actor or anything. And we did the read through and he wasn't very good. And I'm like, oh no, this could ruin the whole thing. One bad thing in the element, one
Yes,
bad
yes.
element can
Mm.
ruin the whole thing. So I was very concerned. And Ken Olin, being a great director, he spent a week working with us, rehearsing, also doing things like the family would do together. We have a big scene in the movie where the family's playing tennis. It gets very crazy.
Mhm.
So he wants us to go out and to get tennis lessons with of all of us playing tennis. And we have to look good too, by the way, because we are good tennis players. This is a perfect family.
Yes.
And so, long story short, Jim Carrey's not good at tennis. I'm okay. And so, but he kind of wants to talk to me a lot. And I'm not interested. I've already labeled him a loser. And I don't want to catch that virus, the loser virus. And so I just want to keep my distance from him.
Mm.
I want to talk to Lori Loughlin. I want to talk to Ken Olin. I want to talk to Jim Sicking. I don't want to talk to this guy. But he's very nice and polite. And he also gives me lots of compliments about my acting. So I'm like, well, I can't be mean to him because he's too nice. And I started to feel sorry for him. And he said he wanted me to help him give some acting tips. I'm like, okay. And then he after we played tennis, he says, "Do you want next door? There's Jerry's Deli. Do you want to get lunch? Can I buy you lunch so I can talk to you about some of my acting choices I've got?"
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, whatever. And so we go next door. We're having lunch, and I notice a lot of people at Jerry's Deli are looking over at our table. People are looking and pointing. So I think they're recognizing me. And people start getting up and running around the restaurant trying to get pencils or pens and paper. So I see that and I go, "Oh,
Yeah.
Jim, I don't want to, we're going to have to spend a few minutes right now. I've got to sign autographs." That's what I said to him. He goes, "Oh, okay." He doesn't even notice what's going on. He's just eating this matzo ball soup. Doesn't even notice, but I see it. And I think, okay, they're coming to get my autograph. So I got to sign a lot of autographs. It's going to take 10 minutes, but that'll be it. They'll line up. I'll sign autographs. People line up at the table. And I'm like, "Yeah, come on, like this. Come on, I'll get started. Give me your pen." And they come over and they go right to Jim Carrey and hand their pen and paper to him. And I'm like, "What is going on?" And he starts signing. And I go, "Jim, who are you? Have you been in anything?" He said, "Oh, yeah, I'm on a show called Living Color." Like, Living Color. So Fox was a very young network at the time. Fox was not a big network. Now, by the way, the TV movie that we're doing is a Fox movie.
Oh,
He got that movie because his manager put him in it. His manager, and he had the power to take that role. He didn't audition. They pushed him into it. They put him into this movie. That's how he got it. He was out of place, by the way, but that's how he got it. He's a TV star, and I didn't know it. Had no idea. So 15 minutes, he's signing autograph after autograph after autograph. I'm just sitting there. Nobody wants my autograph. Nobody knows who I am. And so I was embarrassed, and I felt like a fool, and I'm sitting next to a huge star. I'm lucky to be with him. He's not lucky to be with me. I'm lucky to be with this guy, who's a sweet guy, by the way, who's a really good person and dedicated. And I tell this story a lot because and then later on, he was able to, in the 20-day shoot. He was a very mediocre dramatic actor, in my opinion. He wasn't good in the beginning. But at first day on set, he made an announcement. He said, "Oh, I'd like to make an announcement to the actors and the crew." Oh, we're all like, "We've never, okay, what?" We've never have, I've seen this before, ever. And he goes, "I'd like to make an announcement." And everybody stops and goes, "Okay." And we all, at that point, I know he's Jim Carrey. I know he's a star on Living Color. So now I know he's a star, probably the biggest star in the show. We're lucky to have him. And he says, "Listen, I'm very new to dramatic acting, very new, and I have a lot of weaknesses, and I know that. And I'm not great. I know that. But I want to be good. And if you see me doing anything on set as an actor that you think is bad, don't be shy. Come up and tell me." And I was like, what? This guy is so humble. I was just like stunned and inspired by him.
Yes.
I'm like, this is such a good human being. And I thought to myself, this guy is so dedicated. He has no ego. Most actors, myself included, unfortunately, we have this ego. He has no ego. And that is the recipe for super success.
Wow. Yes.
That
Yes.
is the
Because you're
secret.
open.
You're open,
Yes, to everything.
everything,
Mm,
and you're always willing to learn, and you're looking to learn. Most egotistical actors, we know it all.
mm. Yes. Yes.
So it was that was a so and then his ability to become not a good actor, a great actor. And unfortunately, if you watch the movie is about me, my character. It's the my character is my story because I'm
Mhm, mhm.
gay. I'm coming out of the closet. My fiance, Lori Loughlin, catches me. Everything falls apart. I try to kill myself. He plays the alcoholic brother, and he's all of a sudden goes from the worst actor to Sean Penn in under 20 days. And I witnessed it myself. You have to see it for yourself to believe it. It's a transformation that's like in a science fiction movie. It's unheard of. And I knew, and I told my girlfriend at the time, Tammy, we're still great friends. Um, I said, this guy is going to be like a superstar. I've never seen anybody in 20 days. It's taken me 10 years of theater and stuff to do to become even a decent actor. This guy did everything in like 48 hours. It's not even possible. It's almost like he's from another planet, you know?
Mm.
But that was that, I knew that was going to be that this guy was something special. And of course, I started watching Living Color and I started seeing his work on that. And I'm like, this guy's phenomenal. He's just phenomenal. And he's such a good guy. And by the way, he too grew up homeless. They lived in a van, a
Yes,
VW
yes,
van.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
so, yeah, Jim Carrey is one of a kind. There's not many people like him, not in Hollywood, on planet Earth.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Billy, you wrote the comeback isn't fame. The comeback is character.
Yes.
So tell me, if someone finishes watching The Trouble with Billy, what do you hope they understand about character that took you a lifetime to learn?
Well, there is a certain aspect and advantage to going through the suffering and to stay in the game. Do not give up and do not give in. Uh, uh, and when I say give up and give in, there's multiple ways I'm talking about. I mean, one thing for me was staying sober. I think I had 6 years sobriety when Boo died, and everything fell apart. By the way, everything fell apart at once, and it would be easy for me to give up and probably at least drink alcohol, if not do some drugs,
Yes, yes.
uh, just to numb, just to take the edge off, because there was
Mhm.
a real edge. And the fact that I stayed sober through that says a lot, and that builds character. Um, and so, we stay in the game, and not necessarily for ourselves, but for others and for a higher purpose. And again, it builds character. And so, the message is
It's
is
like training a muscle, when
yes,
yes.
it's like training a muscle. And the message of The Trouble with Billy, I mean, for me, it's taken 10 years. And there's so many times I could have given up. And a few times I did. I only had enough money, my own personal money, for the first 4 episodes. I had planned 10, but I only had enough money for 4. I just ran out of money. It was my last bit of my savings I had left. It's $50,000. And I just spent 20,000 on my dog. So had nothing. And I sold my house in Malibu, right? That's where I lived on for many years. I
Mhm.
had a beach house. So I was able to sell it and have cash for many years just from that house.
Yes.
And so the last bit of money I spent on the show, and then a lot of my friends said, "Hey, you've run out of money. You've got to make your show. You have to re-edit it. You have to shoot an ending and make it a movie
Mm-hmm.
and give up. And so give up your idea, just surrender and just make it a
Yes.
movie and
Yes.
get some money back. You can make 30, 40 grand on the movie selling it.
Mm-hmm.
So at least you got 40 grand in the bank instead of zero. Zero is not good, especially in Los Angeles. And so I did that. I shot an ending and then I edited it into a movie. And so uh, gave up, but also gave up for a good reason. It's like there's no reason to go. And the movie was great, by the way. The movie's excellent. It's 82 minutes. It's really good. I
Mm-hmm.
made a good movie. I screened it, did really well. People loved it. Then a friend of mine who stars in the show, Randall Battenkoff, who plays Artie. By the way, he's an amazing actor. He's been in 100 A-plus movies. This guy is just fantastic. He had access to some producers, financiers in New York City. He screened it for them. It turned out it's his sister and his sister's wife and his brother-in-law watched the movie in New York and said, "This is great. What does Billy want?" He said, "Billy wants to make it a series." He said, "Done. Tell him to write 6 more episodes and we'll do it." And so it's a miracle. And
It is.
I surrendered to it and said, "All right, I'm just gonna," and then boom, out of left field, God shows up and God says, don't worry. I brought you this far. I'm not gonna drop you. We're gonna do all 10 episodes like I promised. That's also part of character. It's developing a faith in a higher power. I call the higher power God. Whatever you want to call the
Mm-hmm.
higher power
Mm-hmm.
is fine. But so these things, this is how character is built, and character is much more important than fame. And it goes back to all these other actors: Angus McFadden, Tom Sizemore, um, Jim Carrey. They're not interested in fame. They are not. Tom Sizemore was never interested in fame, ever. These guys, these people and girls, they're not interested in fame at all. They're interested in the art,
In the art.
and that's character.
Mm. I wanted to ask you, what does success mean to you now
Oh,
compared to when you first started?
well, success means, so the elements of success are having a successful life, not necessarily a career.
Hmm.
And success means that you have enough to give back. Even if I don't mean give back money, give back your time and energy to other causes like, the animal rescue stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and I've always been, my whole life, even when I've run out of money, I've always taking care of animals. And I've helped people with my last dollar. I kid you not. I'm not bragging. I've just done this because I have a faith. If somebody needs their pet, it needs vet stuff or food, whatever it is, if I have no money, if I have $500 left, I'll give the entire $500 to their vet to help them. I've done it multiple times
I'm
because I
sure.
know,
Hmm.
yeah, because I know when I do that, God supports me.
Hmm.
As long as I'm working for God in what I do, I'm going to be supported. And that I have so much evidence to support that idea in my life now. That's success. Success is having a relationship with the higher power and trusting that higher power, if you do the right thing, if you're righteous and you do the right thing, whatever that is, for
Hmm.
me, it's animals. Other people, it's taking care of kids. It's this, it's that. Um, for me, it's as long as I do the right thing, even if it's my last dollar, I will not go uh, I will not go alone or be, um, uh, you know, uh, desolate.
Hmm.
God will be there. And it's happened multiple times. And it's just that's real success is having, a faith in a higher power where I don't have to rely on the material world. I don't have to rely. I'm in this world, but I'm not of this world. That
Oh,
is success. That's
yes.
real success. Having a Ferrari and a big house in Bel Air, all these things that people think is success, it's not.
Mhm.
It's having none of that in creating 10 episodes of independent television out of thin air. No money, no nothing. That is success as far as I'm concerned. Now, most girls in LA would look at me and go, nope, he's a loser. And that's okay. That's okay.
You know, people can think what they want, but the truth is that you did it.
Yes.
So, you know,
God did it. I'm just here as a receiver in a channel, and that's success. It's like I don't have to ever worry. I don't need the Ferrari. I'm okay. More than okay.
mm.
Miracle after miracle after miracle occurs in my life. That is a great life. That is success.
So Billy, with so many ups and downs that you had in your life, what would you advise, someone that is struggling right now or is going through something really hard? How can they keep this faith and
Well,
stay positive?
well, there's always two things to do, always, in my opinion, if you're in that situation, and you have to do it. There's no negotiating this. One is you have to be in service. So no matter how bad you are in life, uh, how bad your life is,
Hmm.
can you go to your local shelter and help them by walking the dogs? Not spending any money, maybe an hour of your time once a week. You've got to be in service to others, humans, animals, the planet, something. You've got to give back even when you have nothing or you think you have nothing, because you do have something always. And you need to demonstrate that you're not so low that you can't help another human or another animal. So that's number one. But number two, you've got to reach out and ask for help and get involved with the community. You can't do it by yourself. Whatever community, for me, I have the 12-step programs. I'm in a few of them.
Hmm.
So I have a community here in Santa Monica and West LA. And I think you've got to reach out, whether going to a church or the synagogue or wherever it is that you can find these communities, these sports clubs. You just can't do things alone.
Hmm.
You've got to get in with other people
Yeah, to
and
connect.
let them
Yes.
know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And the thing is, you got to be careful that you don't slip into the victim mentality. And that's what the trouble with Billy is about. Billy's not a victim. He's the common denominator in all his troubles. So you can't be a victim, but you can have hard times for sure.
Mm.
And as long as you find a community and reach out, whatever that community is, um, if you're going through a hard time, you've got to reach out and you've got to be of service. Those two things are life changing. And I think that when I think that developing a relationship, I know right now in America anyway, God is such a forbidden topic. We're not supposed to talk about God. There's no God anymore. You're on your own. No higher power. None of that stuff. You are your own higher power. That's what they say now in America. And so I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. So, and
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
the basis of Alcoholics Anonymous. We're pretty much, one of the only requirements. Well, the only requirement is a desire to stop drinking, but really, you got to develop a relationship with God. And
Yes.
it's become a dirty word in America. That's too bad. That's unfortunate, because it's a powerful concept.
So, Billy, thank you so much for being here. I really, really enjoyed this episode. And I want to say to everyone watching that, I encourage them to watch The Trouble with Billy because, sometimes the most powerful stories are not about success, but about resilience, loyalty and finding, I would say, your way back to yourself,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
coming back to your center.
yeah. It's a long trip.
Yeah, it is. It is. So again, thank you so much, Billy. It was an honor.
Yeah, thank you.
And to all of you out there, as we always say, ego is here, you are here, and that's enough.